So socio-politically, socio-economically speaking, you understand? They're not. Are they talking about the wealth disparity and how that keeps growing, and poverty and how that's being created, cause and effect, chain reaction? One thing leads to another. Do they try to educate the public on these things? You want to blame somebody and blame the thieves. Don't blame the welfare recipients. I mean, these people are they're fodder. They're pawns in this game. They don't care. These idiots on the top, I mean, they would commit genocide on an unthinkable, unimaginable level if they had their way. They don't care. They don't need the working class anymore. In their minds, they're useless feeders now. So, I mean, that's why it's so important to understand basic economics. So you're empowered. You can hold your own with anybody. You don't have to know anything about all the other credit default swaps or any of this fancy, minutia. That's not important. But if you know the stuff Adam Smith talked about, you want to talk about every nation's single greatest asset, for example. It's duh. I mean, Adam Smith, with devoting his life to the study of economics, figured that out. I mean, you could sit on a mountain, a capital, but unless you've got a willing workforce and you're not, you can't by law enslave people, then you're at the mercy of the workers to do the work of their own free will and accord, right? A willing workforce, in other words. That's every nation's single greatest asset, because with it, anything and everything can get done. And conversely, without it, nothing gets done. So let's not play games here. Let's not be disingenuous. Let's not be liars. Let's not be intellectually dishonest. Let's just call a spade and say, yes, that's true. That's the way it is. So why on earth would we subjugate minimum wage workers? Look around your house at all the stuff that was made in a factory in China or Mexico or India or Vietnam or some other in America. Okay? Minimum wage workers all over the world. Do you understand? And without them, you wouldn't have that stuff that you like. Nothing. Your computer, your camera, nothing that you enjoy. Your phone, okay? Nothing. Your refrigerator, your television, okay? Nothing. Nothing. You understand? How about your clothing? Where was that made? What factory was that made at? Your utensils in your kitchen, the food you eat, factories, minimum wage workers. They're essential. They're imperative to the welfare of society, and we're going to blame these people, the poor, the downtrodden, and then that's like blaming Jesus. It's ridiculous. So that's why it's so important how these things are conflated. The spiritual matters, the scriptures, and understanding the root of all evil. Jesus compared money to a false competing God that competes for our affections and our attentions. I mean, we're in dire straits at this point. I mean, it's inexcusable. With all the knowledge of the ages at all our fingertips, to be in this mess that we're in is just absurd. It's preposterous. It's just mind-blowing when you really step back and go, how could this have happened? Where's the progress in this 21st century with all the homelessness and all this? I mean, the destitution. And we're told, hey, you're evil if you don't want every immigrant in the world to come in because they're destitute and needy and they're being run out of their lands by thugs and gangs and all this. But forgetting that we've got our, what about first come, first serve, doing this in an orderly fashion, fairly, ethically, morally, and take care of our own native-born sons and daughters first. And then I don't care if you bring the whole planet into America. Everybody that wants to come here, fine. But if they want to stay in their homelands, which most people want to, they just want the same things we have here, I guess. They want the safety, security, and all that kind of stuff, at least the illusion of it in America. At this point, that's all it is. I mean, they're not transmitting images of homeless encampments down to these countries in Central and South America and everywhere else, Latin America, where these destitute people are coming from. They're not saying, well, look, this is what you can expect. There's no more social welfare. That was a rumor, and we've long since spent it all. Here's the evidence. Look at all these people. This is how they're living. Date stamp it so they see, yes, this is current. And this is how the government is treating our own native-born sons and daughters. So you don't come to America expecting any handouts, okay, because they're not there. And then we got to listen to them all day say, oh, well, we don't have enough workers. And all. What are you paying them? You pay them enough, I guarantee you'll find your workers, okay? Oh, we can't pay everybody a fair wage. We can't give everybody a living wage. We got to pay these people 6 figures over here because we really need Prove that you. I mean, it's ridiculous. You think there's not enough qualified baseball players? Is that why they get these multi-million-dollar contracts? Or how about these people spewing out the news on the national media? Okay, and I don't look to the local media. I'm not blaming them. It's the national. This is the stuff. These are the most evil people that are running the national media. Okay, these are the grand puppeteers. Give them the talking points. That's it. State acute. Make a mountain out of a molehill when we tell you, and make a molehill out of a mountain. That's the way the propaganda machine works. So yes, I got no respect for it. Locally, I mean, they're mostly reporting on local issues. I mean, it's a whole different ball game. So don't blame people in your local community. Remember, if you want to blame someone, blame the kingpins. These top politicians that rubber stamp what the money printing class says. Those are the ones. You want to blame somebody, you want to go for the juggernaut, the jugular, you go for those people. You blame them. You rant and rave over them. You finger them all day long, and that's proper and right. These are big fat liars, cheaters, thieves, hypocrites, and murderers. Worst of all, that's what they're willing to do to keep running the show. They're willing. They know you can stand in their way, man. And we're big fat money lovers that don't value soul or conscience. We have a huge advantage over you, who's goody two shoes, who values soul and conscience and all that stupid stuff. You understand how this thing works and how they've been getting away with this thing? I want to point out good delusion. A good delusion would be like a white lie. Even in the Bible, there were spies. Okay, so there are good spies out there, and there are lies that actually can be approved. They're clean. It's sort of like jealousy. There's good and bad. It's a subjective term depending on how you use it. We make generalizations all the time, and they're fair in that context, using a generalization. If you say, okay, that's a generalization. I said that, and generally speaking, that's true. But a placebo would be an example of a good delusion, right? Because you kind of fool yourself. Well, as a man thinketh, and so if I believe this, it's the power of thought, the power of the mind. It's amazing. It's like a miraculous power. It's the power of being in love. That's why I say just being in love, even if my love remains unrequited, the fact is that I have benefited greatly just by falling in love. I mean, look, it took me by surprise. It took me off guard. I said, oh my gosh, this woman is the one that I totally could be happy with for all eternity. And I hope it happens to you guys and gals. I hope it does. I mean, and I hope it works out for you. And I hope you hope it works out for me. But I know what I want more than anything else this world has to offer me. That's what I want. I just want to make a woman happy, because I know as a selfish man, that's the path. That's the way I'm going to find happiness. And beyond that, I mean, of course, the big picture, that's why I do this video series, is to try to enlighten people. What I preach and what I teach is all about us collectively and individually being empowered, coming together, healing the divide in our land and being unified and coming against the kingpins of our misery that are causing all our problems, that make us want to run and not walk away from our problems, that make us want to metaphorically slash our wrists and sabotage any form of happiness because we can't enjoy the blessings and feeling lucky because there's so many that are suffering unnecessarily, and we know it intuitively, instinctively, and we can't enjoy our stinking little lives. This is what's bugging us, man. So, but a placebo is a beautiful thing, but you got to admit, it's a little delusional, but it's scientifically provable. So, I mean, there's good delusion and there's bad delusion. A bad one is the one that's going to wind you up in that place commonly referred to as Hades, hell. Okay? Not a good place to be. But that's why it's so important to acknowledge that we are owned. That God is much like a grand set of parents. Just imagine the grand poobah parents that just love us. They're the best parents you could ever imagine. That's God. What do they want? What do your parents want? What do they want? Foster parents, adoptive parents, biological parents, whatever, step parents. Okay, a parent is a parent. Okay, we're all probably going to be a parent to some degree, and we all can relate to what do you want for your kids. Well, I mean, if you're any parent worth a grain of salt, then you want the best for them. You want them rich and famous, for example. But you want them to have safety and security. You don't want them in fear. You want them prosperous. You want all good things for them and nothing bad. So it's no mystery what God wants for us. It's so simple. It makes so much sense. It's so logical. It's so reasonable. And it's smart. It's intellectual too. So believe in God and acknowledge your need of God, and let people know these things. Pass it along. Pay it forward, man. Let's get it together here. That's why I do what I do. But I'm a big proponent of being in love, and I am in love. And hey, maybe it will come to something. I mean, but I'm scared to death. She may think, well, I've been so forward and outgoing about it and all this, forthright, because I prescribe to this idea that, like King Solomon said, that love restrained is worse than open rebuke. That's something you could put in your pipe and smoke it and go, wow, what the heck? It's a real head scratcher. What's he saying there? So it sounds crazy. And I know I've been kind of over this girl. I can't help it. I want her, and I'm not going to play coy and cool. I'm going to let her know you're never going to find a guy that is more smitten by you. You're perfect. I love the way you put on your makeup. I love the way your hair falls on your pretty head. I love everything about you. Everything. I love you. You're perfect as a feminine physical specimen. You're perfect. But you're so much more than just perfect arm candy for me. I mean, it's like every guy on earth, eat your heart out, dudes. You got your billions. I don't give a crap, man. I got this girl by my side. You understand? And she only has to give me as much time as she wants. Believe me, I know she's got a busy schedule. I won't demand a lot of time. I like my own independence. I'd like to maintain separate residence. I just want a girl to go steady with. I want a girl to be my wife. I want a girl to go through eternity with. I want you, sweetheart. And I'm reluctant to use her name because she knows who she is. She knows who she is. But, yeah, you're never going to find a guy that is more in love. And, I want this soul candy. Because, what a woman could do for your soul, like that song, Peaceful, Easy Feeling. I found out a long time ago with my first love what a woman could do for my soul. And the peace that I experienced, just feeling whole with her, the calm I felt, it was nothing short of miraculous. I felt the power of God. That is the power of God. That is the disciplining power. It was disciplining because it makes you not want to just do the things you used to do in your youth and the abandon and the recklessness of youth and all that kind of thing, where it's devil may care attitude, daredevil type thing, where life, death, it's all the same, live and let die. And I had something I really wanted to live for. I really was enjoying my life, and I thought, man, I am in love, and this feels good. I like this woman. I like everything about her. I like to know about her family. I like everything. I just wanted to be her significant other and her to be my better half. And I thought I had it forever, and I lost it, and it was not her fault, and it was my fault. But just like the original sin, it ain't going to happen again. We don't get fooled again. Okay, that's it. Because you could ask a lot of strong believers out there if they would allow themselves to eat of the tree of knowledge of good and evil, the forbidden fruit, they would never do it again. They would never defy God. If you give me a second chance, man, and you see all the blight that's come to us, the curse that befell the earth, death, disease, all this negative crap, natural disasters, extreme temperature changes, everything bad. I mean, no, of course we wouldn't. And I wouldn't either. So I'll tell you, I learned my lesson, and I would cherish her. I would respect her. I'd be very sensitive, intuitive with her. I would be, because I want to be, the man that she needs, the man that she wants. That's it. Whatever she has fantasized about, the best she can imagine, the best she can fantasize, and then some. Because I'm a godly man, and she's a godly woman. So there's a whole lot of stuff that, the eye has not seen nor the ear heard what the Lord has in store for those that love Him. And when it comes to a happily married couple, that's it. The sky's the limit. Better than we ever imagined, sweetheart. Better than I can imagine. Better than you can imagine. And yes, I'm scared to death too of involvement in relationship because I've spent so much time alone. And like I said, that we don't have to have our independence threatened at all by that. I don't want that either. I want you to be free, completely free.